This is your friend CK. Welcome to the YouTube channel, and please subscribe if it's your first time here. We're gonna grow this to 1K, and today we have a good one. We're gonna talk about Pop's Block Shop, but we're gonna analyze a little bit his selling strategy because I think he's skyrocketed into one of the best sellers in the United States on eBay, on Bricklink. If you look at his numbers and his sales, he keeps a daily tab on how much he sells, and his YouTube channel even, and his presence in the Lego community at conventions. So we're gonna get into it, and I've learned a few things from Pop's Block Shop, and I'll share it with you guys and see if you could integrate that in your Lego business or even in your business in general, because I promise you, if Pop's Block Shop decided to sell sneakers, he'd be extremely good at selling sneakers. He'd be good at selling almost anything, I think, because he has the fundamentals down, and we'll talk about why. And again, this is like a long format storytelling style of YouTube videos. I personally like to listen to those types, and that's why I'm doing that format. Also, thank you for your patience, guys. We're working on the audio quality. I had this Bluetooth mic, and I think it was made in China. It was cheap. It was still like $30, but it was buzzing a lot. I didn't really like it. And the previous video, I didn't use it. Now I'm using a different microphone. So we'll keep upgrading the equipment until the audio quality is just right, okay? So thanks for your patience with that. Before we start with the video, I do want to address, I'm on my lunch break, by the way, so if you see people walking around, that's the reason. They still work through lunch. So yeah. Okay, I want to address this before. I made a video on investing, and I made a few videos before on Lego investing, and I'm noticing that when it comes to investing or money, there are two really big mindsets, okay? I want to cover this, and then we'll talk about Pop's Block Shop. If you want to skip it, just skip this, but I want to address this. So you have Robert Kiyosaki's mindset, which Robert Kiyosaki believes in getting loans and investing with loans and bigger loans and being leveraged. And I think that's great, especially if you know how to do it. There's always going to be risk involved, but some people are really good at strategizing and managing their money and not over leveraging themselves, but using loans. And in this case with Lego, there's a large portion of the Lego investing community that likes to use the 0% APR cards. Maybe in that video earlier that I made this week, I criticized the credit card because it's a slippery slope, but I'm not saying it's wrong, okay? It's like Robert Kiyosaki's mindset versus Dave Ramsey's mindset. In a nutshell, Dave Ramsey's approach is more like try to pay off your house in 5 years. Don't even have a mortgage. Don't have any car payments. Don't have any. I think that could be a little excessive too. It's conservative, but you're not using loans and debt to your advantage, right? Because banks also take loans. Banks also use debt to their advantage. They use money that they don't have to make more money, essentially. There are those two mindsets. Robert Kiyosaki using loans and leverage, and he doesn't say credit cards, he says bank loans, 0% APR in the Lego investing case. And I do want to talk about the 0% APR credit card thing a little more in the future. So I did learn more about it. My mother-in-law actually told me that every September, at least here in Texas, they'll send the 0% APR cards. That's when you'll see them most. And usually you'll have a year to pay it off. And if you don't, any additional charges, I believe after a year, the interest rate will be around 26-29% standard credit card interest. But yeah, and I finally did receive some in the mail. And that's a strategy that works for some people. So yeah, I'm in the middle between both mindsets. All right, now for today's juicy video. Why is Pop's Block Shop a genius at selling Lego? First of all, we'll start with sourcing. I think that the way the Pop's Block Shop sources is quite unique, is he'll do things that other people don't do. For example, He is really good at this point, I'd say even memorizing, but at knowing which heads belong to which minifigures. So he'll see a head that's common, and he'll know that this belongs to over 100 minifigures. And some of those minifigures might be castle minifigures, vintage, or high value minifigures. And he knows. So what he'll do is, if there's a seller somewhere on the internet that's selling a bag of 500 heads, he'll buy them. And he'll buy them, and he'll make really good use of those heads. He'll build the minifigures up, and essentially, because he's getting large quantities at a low price, when he builds those minifigures, he manages to keep his cost low. And the key to business is make sure you spend the least amount as possible, if my English makes sense. Because then you can make sales and clearances during the slow periods, and you could still push through the quarters and still make a profit. So he's really good at thinking outside the box and buying, in this case, those heads, and finding the opportunities with building minifigures where other sellers don't. And I don't either. I haven't used that strategy. I bought a lot of torsos and legs because I wanted to build Bob Ross and Chuck Norris, I almost forgot his name, for those two minifigures, but they're custom, you know. But to build actual minifigures, I have not done that. That's one reason why Pop is, I'm gonna call him Pop. Pop's Box Shop is kind of long. That's one way he stands out. Another way he stands out is networking. Okay, most sellers who've been in the business long enough end up having a good network, and that makes you a better seller because, again, you get really good deals. If you have a store and you've had a store for a while, people will bring you tubs of Lego and they'll sell it to you for $1 a pound. Or they'll sell you Lego sets for 70% off. They just want to get rid of stuff, and you'll get these great deals if you have a store, for example. In Pop's Box Shop's case, he has a polybag supplier, I believe, from Canada. He gets really good deals from him. And he also expanded to other individuals. Not sure where he met Ralph, if he met him through YouTube or at a convention, but he has a good network, and Ralph is an example of that because Ralph is really good with IT. So Pop tends to be up to date, and actually not only up to date, but tends to have these innovative softwares. I'm not sure if other sellers have access to, but like the daily updates that he gets. If he ever has any issues with BrickSync, guaranteed Ralph can help out. Ralph is really good with IT. He's actually, I think that's what he does for a living. So to build yourself up as a seller, your brand, and then eventually to network with key individuals with valuable skill sets like IT, and Lego supply is another one, is part of being a great seller. Is when you're putting less and less effort in sourcing and in running your business, you are becoming more and more successful and running your business smoothly than you would without that network. Sourcing, networking. Another one is up to date. He's always up to date. And I know, and that stands out to me because sometimes I don't always follow social media and I'm not always up to date with the newest trends or news in general with Lego. But if you watch Pop's vlogs, it's easier to say it that way. If you watch Pop's vlogs, you'll see that he's always paying attention to news, which also makes him a great seller because he adjusts his investing accordingly. And another positive about Pops is he adjusts quickly to the market. And we already mentioned one, the daily sales report. So because he has that, because he gets to see and monitor his daily sales report on BrickOwl, on Bricklink, on eBay, that's like putting your fingers on the pulse of the market and seeing and noticing. If you pay attention to your sales on a daily basis and you're doing as much volume as he does, if you go from 50 orders to 17, you'll quickly notice that something's off. And he will put items on sale individually based on how the market is doing. For example, when it comes to studs, he'll price his studs lower than the average market 6-month sale on Bricklink, because he knows that studs might not move as quickly. So he pinpoints which pieces to adjust the prices on, and he pays attention to his daily report, so he knows when to pivot as a seller. That's why he, generally speaking, he's one of the only sellers that is consistent, very consistent with sales. Another positive about Pop's Block Shop that makes him a genius seller is his sales strategy. This has become part of his brand. People know him for this. People will shop at his store for this reason. His shipping is free. Okay, don't quote me on this, but I could have sworn this used to be $20 or more, but his shipping is free. I checked currently. If you spend $50, if you have an order of $50 or more, I believe it used to be $20. Don't quote me on it though. Within the United States. And the max he charges for shipping is $5.50. Buyers know that they can save a lot on shipping, and even if their order exceeds 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever, you're still gonna pay. You're gonna be capped at $5.50 for shipping. That is a great sales strategy, and he has generated a lot of sales. And plus, along with YouTube, he's advertising his brand and showing that, hey, this is what I do on Bricklink. I have this shipping approach that you get free shipping if you spend 50 or more. Used to be 20, I'm pretty sure. And maximum $5.50 on shipping. And yes, okay, so this is something I noticed recently. I'm not sure if he was doing this in the beginning, but now he is expanding his inventory by building pirate ships, building sets that are valuable, and expanding his inventory of valuable sets. That's something I noticed part of his growth, because even if you reach 10,000 sales, there are always strategies you can employ to grow even more. And there's just so much on Bricklink. If you look at Bricklink's database of all the lots, individual lots catalog on Bricklink, there's just so much. Even if you're a huge seller, you can still grow. Another positive about Pop's Block Shop is he is fast. When I say fast, I would not be surprised if you put a whole bunch of orders in front of 100 different sellers and you put a timer. I wouldn't be surprised if he would be in the top 5% of packing, sorting, all of it. And one more, I think this is an underrated one. One more positive about Pop's Block Shop is he is an expert with eBay. I believe he worked for eBay, so he knows the ins and outs. Mr. Beast and huge YouTubers that were big YouTube nerds, and they knew all the little details that gave them that extra edge over others within Mr. Beast's case. It would be YouTube, but in Pop's Block Shop case, it would be selling Lego on eBay. I think he's one of the best. And if you look at his sales, he won't focus too much on his eBay sales, but I want to say that's his foundation. And then Bricklink and BrickOwl are extra. Another one, we touched on it, is he keeps expanding. Every good seller thinks of ways to keep growing, because they say in business that you're either growing or your business is either growing or dying. You got to make sure you keep expanding, and he does that by adding to his inventory, and his inventory keeps growing. Also, another positive marker of a great seller is, or even someone who's really good at business, successful, is they tend to be focused. Pops Block Shop is focused, and one example of how he's focused is in business you'll encounter sometimes opportunities that might not be the best for your business, and you have to identify and pivot if it's not, if you go down that route. And with Pops Block Shop, it was Whatnot, I believe. I don't think he felt like Whatnot really fit his brand, or it fit him as a seller. Nothing wrong with Whatnot. I'll make more videos about Whatnot. I think it's a great platform. But for him, it didn't make sense, and he pulled the plug within, I'd say, a couple of months. And he tried to, I believe, he sold the Cloud City Boba Fett, and he tried to sell high value items. He tried it out, but he pulled the plug on it, and he pivoted very quickly. It just, he didn't let Whatnot sidetrack him. He went back to Bricklink and back to all the points that we mentioned that makes him a great seller. He went back to focusing on his growth on Bricklink, eBay, BrickOwl, networking, and so on. Sales. Okay. Another positive about Pop is his branding. I think by people seeing his YouTube videos and meeting him at conventions, I have not met him yet personally. I know eventually one day I will at a convention. Pretty sure that they will come. But I purchased from him, and he's a pretty likable person. His shipping is cheap, and his prices are very competitive because he adjusts his prices according to the market. And those are a couple of points that make, this time I took notes. Usually I'll just talk, but this time I have it ready. Yeah, that's what it takes to be a successful full-time seller. So if you're considering going full-time, pay attention to Pops Block Shop. His current sales on Bricklink are he's sold about 13,000. He's had over 13,000 sales. My store is around 1,400. So he's 10x ish of where I'm at. And I feel like I've been fanboying. I have nothing but good things to say about Pops Block Shop, but just to not seem like I'm a complete fanboy, one thing I'll say is I feel like his YouTube channel could have maybe been at 20K or 30K. He's currently at 6,000 or 7,000, which is, I think, incredible. I think it's hard to grow on YouTube, and I've experienced it because I have over 100 videos, but I keep learning and trying to adjust to YouTube. But he's great at it, and sometimes his videos, they feel slow, and it's vlogging style, but it'll go on for 45 minutes. And despite that being the case, he's still growing just fine. I think if he tweaked his approach to YouTube, I think he would have more growth. But man, he's killing it everywhere else. He's even killing it on YouTube. So who am I to talk? But those are some observations. If you're a seller, whether you're selling Lego or doing other kind of reselling, or you're an entrepreneur, pay attention to Pops Block Shop. There are a few things that we could learn from him for sure. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. This is CK. Make sure to subscribe if you have any comments or topics you want me to talk about, and also make sure to throw some likes my way. And if you have some dislikes, mention in the comment below. It might be audio related or anything really, any way I can improve the channel. Please let me know. And that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.